Let's go back to Seth Kaplan. Seth, you heard some of the analysis, the brief introduction. We're hoping to still go back to the Malaysian Prime Minister in just a bit. But I guess, as I was saying, the headline that kind of jumped out at me, they've kind of pinpointed an area. They're moving it to the north, but still, we're looking at a very wide area. We're looking at a lot of hostile weather environment, if you will. But there is this analysis that he was referring to that is apparently groundbreaking. What was your takeaway as you were listening?
Yeah, and that, it's easy to be a bit skeptical, obviously, after so many days of having heard that there was something that was potentially a key development and ending in frustration. Of course, everybody, no reason to think they're not being forthcoming about it. They get as excited as we do when something seems to be a good lead, and then as disappointed as we do when it's not. I think we also now have crystallized for us that there are 5 countries here that are the key in this. We heard of the ATSB of Australia, partly because of proximity, long list that are leading the effort. But yeah, pretty hard to get too optimistic at this point with the general search area itself still being defined. Again, trying to come within hundreds of miles in a situation where we know how difficult it can be to find the debris field, even when we rather precisely know where it is.
Seth, I heard somebody a couple of weeks ago say that this isn't a needle in the haystack. We haven't even found the haystack yet. Is it still the case, or do you think we're at least kind of shortening the distance and kind of at least pinpointing an area where the wreckage may be found?
Yeah, it's still very much looking for the haystack in terms of anything else that we can compare this to, certainly. We mentioned earlier in the show Air France 447 about 5 years ago off Brazil. And Mike, that's one where we knew almost exactly where it went down, and it took years to find it. So, there is no precedent for this, as much as we try to grasp for, what can we compare this to. However, these efforts using mathematics, using basically geometry, with things that weren't really intended for this purpose. The work that the Inmarsat people, for example, did, pings, just once an hour pings from this aircraft, and sort of triangulating, as you say, putting enough information together to try to figure out where it might have gone down. Rather impressive, but you're still just working with such imperfect information. So they certainly are doing their best, but very difficult to be optimistic that we are anywhere near finding this plane, considering how little we still know and how difficult it is, even when we know so much more than we do know.
Seth, I have to interrupt. Thanks so much for your analysis there in Fort Lauderdale.